Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Midwest Medium Podcast. I am your host, June Hessler. Thank you for joining me and welcome back. Today, we're trying something different. I have a YouTube channel. So, this podcast will be on the YouTube channel. So, you can watch it, you can listen to it, you can easily share it with your friends and family. Check it out. YouTube Hessler, super easy to find. Today, we're going to talk about your questions. I want to take time to answer some questions that I've received over the last couple of months. I think they're important. And I also want to explain why I think Chip Coffey is wrong about stillbirth. If you follow my work, you know that it is an experience that we had in 2018 when our son Jack was stillborn. I was just over 5 months pregnant. And I've been very open about how that experience catapulted me into mediumship. I have since read for many clients who have experienced something very similar or they've experienced miscarriage, which I've also experienced. So I am well versed on the topic. I've been through it. I read for people who have also been through it. And Chip's recent comments on the Paranormal 60 with Dave Schrader did not sit well with me. So I'm just going to start with that. So, first and foremost, I know that Chip Coffey is a very talented medium. He helps a lot of people. He's well respected in the paranormal and supernatural community, and I'm not here to take away from any of that. He has built a reputation for himself. He helps a lot of people. He was on Psychic Kids. He helps a lot of kids. I think he is an important person to the field, and in no way I am diminishing that whatsoever. But I am going to provide my response based on my lived experience about why Chip Coffey is wrong about stillbirth. So, not too long ago, Chip was a guest on the Paranormal 60 with Dave Schrader, who is a friend of the podcast. He came on last year and let me pick his brain. And we've been friendly ever since. I met him a couple months later at an event here in Minnesota and really sweet, nice guy. I'm a fan of the Paranormal 60. I listen to it all the time. The news crew is really fun and it's a good podcast. So when I saw that Chip Coffey was coming on, I was excited to listen. Now that I do mediumship, I do listen to some interviews with other mediums that I respect, and Chip Coffey is one of them. Um, there was a question in the middle of the episode. And if you're curious, you can go back. I'm paraphrasing the question and I'm paraphrasing Chip's response. Question came from a woman who essentially asked, can you communicate with souls of stillborn children? And first, let's focus on the question. It is my belief that a woman does not ask that question just to ask the question. It's not like asking, do you believe in ghosts? Or do you believe in heaven? Do you believe in hell? Those are questions we all have. Not all of us have questions about whether or not one can communicate with stillborn babies. So I'm going to venture um, a very strong guess that this woman either experienced stillbirth herself or she's very close to someone that did. And so there's a deeper reason why she's asking the question. Now, Chip's response really did not sit well with me. I did lose sleep over it, and I decided that I need to speak out on it because I know that there's people who listen to the Midwest Medium podcast who also listen to the Paranormal 60, and I think it's important to talk about and to address. Now, Chip's response to the question was, and again, I'm paraphrasing, it essentially was, I don't do that. Why would you want to do that? What's the end game? You spent no time with that soul. The soul's fine. That's your answer. Why would you want to connect with the soul? What's the point? And my jaw kind of, figuratively speaking, my jaw hit the floor. Um, I was, I found it upsetting. And here's why. First, as a medium who is, I mean, I charge money. I charge money for my readings now. And any medium, whether you charge or not, any qualified medium has a very high standard of ethics that includes not putting yourself into the reading. So before I read for people, I always meditate. I clear myself. I clear my thoughts, my opinions, my biases, my physical pain, my emotional pain, my emotions altogether. I clear myself completely so that when spirit communicates, everything is for the client. That includes not putting my own thoughts and beliefs into a reading. Chip's answer, he very much put his own thoughts and beliefs into that answer, and I think that's unethical. Um, I think and I think it's dangerous, and here's why. There's many mediums, especially the ones on television who are very well known, have very long wait lists. Um, if I am a paying client and I want to connect with my stillborn baby and I seek out basically a famous medium who's been on many television shows and I'm excited to meet this person and I'm going to wait 6, 8, 9, 12 months, maybe even longer to see this person because that's how long the wait list is. And I pay hundreds of dollars. I mean, you guys, these famous mediums are not cheap. They charge a lot of money. I do all those things. I want to connect with my stillborn baby. And I sit in front of this qualified medium, and that's the answer I get. It's dangerous. We cannot give answers like that. It is okay for a medium to say, I don't know. It is okay for a medium to say, nothing's coming through. I'm sorry, I'm not getting an answer. It is my belief that a big reason why I'm allowed to connect with souls of stillborn babies and miscarried babies is because I've gone through it. I'm assuming Chip has not gone through that. I don't know if he's been close to someone who has gone through such an experience. That's not my business. I can't say for sure, but I know that I've gone through it and I know that I am allowed to connect with those souls. So it's okay to say, I don't know if you don't know. If you don't know the answer, don't just make up an answer. Don't just throw your own thoughts and opinions and beliefs into the answer. Just say, I don't know. No harm, no foul. But when you throw your opinions and all these other things into the answer, that can be very damaging for the person who's asking the question. And I really wanted to bring this up. Um, Anyone who's listening who has lost a baby due to stillbirth or miscarried, I want you to know that your babies do go to heaven. I've seen it. I've communicated with some of them, my own son being one. I've shared a lot about our son Jack and my experiences with him since he's passed. Some I keep private because I do still acknowledge and respect that he was also a big loss for my husband. And so we keep some things private and I don't talk about it here. But I've been open and shared a lot, and that's with my husband's blessing. And I can tell you, the soul, without a doubt, the souls of your babies are okay. They do go to heaven. And any medium who tries to talk you out of wanting to connect with your baby for whatever reason you have, it's not my business. It's not the medium's business. But don't let them talk you out of it. Find a different medium. That's what it comes down to. Find someone else that's qualified. So I really I lost sleep over this, you guys, and I couldn't ignore it. I know I'm qualified to speak on this topic, and so I will. If I'm not qualified to speak on a topic, I will not. And I will tell you if my knowledge on something is limited, and here I'm not going to say I have all the answers, but I have a lot of them when it comes to communicating with souls of stillborn babies and miscarried babies. So please know that they are okay, they are in heaven, and yes, you can communicate with them. Find yourself a good medium. Okay, getting into some of your questions. I was recently, well, I guess it's been maybe a month or so. Uh, Holly and I had a massage and mediumship event that you may have heard of. It's advertised here. It's on my website, and Holly advertises it. She's with Violet Healing Massage. I actually saw her this morning for a massage. She's fantastic, so make sure you check her out. At the end of the event, one of the participants came up to me and asked, "How can I do what you do?" Which is a very loaded question. So I'm just going to try to keep it as simple as possible. First of all, I didn't know that I could do what I do, and not everyone can do what I do. Yes, we all have psychic abilities. That's 100% true. Not every psychic is a medium, but all mediums are psychic. So if you are interested in opening up your psychic abilities, I think that's fantastic. I encourage everyone to explore that. Please know that not every person who does it can necessarily connect with souls of the departed. Um, if I ever learn otherwise, I promise I will tell you, but that is my belief right now. That is what I've learned. And um, so I want to manage expectations here. I would say to do what I do, the foundation of working as a psychic, even if you're just going to do it privately for yourself and for your friends and family, is meditation. Meditation is huge. Anyone who's teaching psychic development classes, meditation should be the foundation. So if you haven't started meditating yet, I would say find a room, set time for yourself, tell your family to leave you alone. That's what I did. And my daughter said, "Well, Mom, what if there's a fire?" I said, "Well, then I will smell the smoke. Leave me alone." And they've respected it ever since, and it's been almost 2 years. So find yourself a nice, comfortable room where you can be alone. You can sit in a chair, you can sit on the floor, you can sit on a pillow, you can lay down, whatever is most comfortable for you. I sit in a meditation chair when I do silent meditation. I will lay on my back on a bed when I do my guided meditation. So start with that. Meditation requires consistency, it requires dedication. I would really put a timer on your phone for 2 or 3 minutes and really try to clear yourself out for those 2 or 3 minutes. Yes, you're going to have intrusive thoughts. Do your best to put them out of your head. You can visualize a blank white canvas. That helps me sometimes. But really, an important thing about meditation is not just clearing out your mind, but it's calming your body, centering yourself. I found that when I meditate on a regular basis, I'm in a better mood. I don't get stressed as easily. My anxiety is down. I feel overall better emotionally and physically. When I slack on meditation, I can feel it. I don't like it. So I really try to stay on top of it. Now, if you're already more into meditation and you're already doing it on a regular basis, I would say increase your time. So if you're starting at 2 or 3 minutes, do it every day for that same amount of time. And then when you feel good about 2 or 3 minutes, bump it up to 5. And then after a while, bump it up to 8 or 10 minutes and keep increasing until you're at 30 minutes minimum per day. There's days I do 30 minutes, there's days I do an hour, there's days I kind of do like a mix and match. Every day is a little bit different for me with meditation, but I would say that is going to be the foundation of your psychic development. So really start with meditation. It's so, so important. Another question I received is, how do international readings work? I think that's an important question to talk about. So right now, most of my readings are over Zoom, unless I'm doing a group reading with massage and mediumship, then those are held in person, which are really fun. When this person asked me this question about international readings, my response was, as long as the client and I speak the same language, there's no problem. Now, I am limited. I only speak English. I took 2 years of Spanish in high school and I didn't stick with it, so my Spanish is very limited. Um, but I can tell you that as long as the medium and the client speak the same language, there really shouldn't be an issue. Um, I'm not worried about deceased loved ones coming through who, let's say, they only spoke Italian and I don't speak Italian, but because everything's telepathic, I have no concerns about being able to understand what spirit and what the deceased loved ones are trying to communicate. They're going to communicate to the medium in a way that the medium understands. So it's a pretty simple question. If the client speaks a different language than the medium, I suppose you could get an interpreter involved. I haven't tried that. I don't know that I would agree to it. I'd have to meditate on that to get an answer. I suppose it's possible. I just haven't dealt with that yet. Next question is, we have an item that moves on its own. Could this be a spirit? And my answer is always, I don't know. So I get this question sometimes from people that I know personally. If I'm not in a reading, I'm not going to have an answer and I'm not going to pretend that I have an answer. So I'm happy to try to get an answer for you in a reading, but if I'm not opened up and you just shoot me a text or an email and this is your question, my answer is always going to be I don't know because I don't know. Um, if you want more insight on why items are moving around at your house, I would say schedule your reading with a qualified medium, and then hopefully they'll be allowed an answer for you to give you some clarity. The next question, which really is more of a comment, is one I received after I did a group reading, and so every time I do a reading, whether it's a private reading or a group reading, I always tell people some things will make sense today, some things will make sense later. Later means maybe a couple days, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, maybe a couple years. I've seen it in every single time frame. I've seen it happen, not only for clients, but also for myself as a person who's participated in medium readings for 12 years now. Um, there are things that will make sense later. That's just how it works. And so the comment I received was, you said something that I needed to confirm with family, and they said no. So you're wrong. Okay, fine. So if you want to perceive it as me being wrong, that's fine. And by the way, it's not me, it's spirit. I will never say that spirit is wrong. If people want to point fingers at me, that's fine. I'll take the hit. I'm not worried about it. But when spirit gives me something or gives any qualified medium information, and then we give it to the client and they're going to deny it, that's fine. That's on them, not on me. Um, Point fingers all you want. That's totally fine. Um, but I would say this email that I received was a couple days after the reading, and my response was give it more time. So be patient. Just because the family or whoever you checked with says no right now, it doesn't mean it's not going to be a yes at some point down the road. So people really, I think, need to be patient. And again, it's not patient with me. I didn't give you this information. I delivered it, but I didn't send it. Spirit sent it. So you got to be patient with spirit. That's a big deal. Um, the last question I have for today is why are there no refunds for missed sessions? So on my invoices that are sent out and on really there should be some kind of um, refund policy on any medium's invoice that is sent, clearly stating what the refund policy is. If I remember correctly, mine is something, it's stated right on there. It's something like if cancellation or reschedule isn't made within 48 hours of the reading, then there'll be a 50% refund. But if the reading is completely missed, meaning the client never showed up, there is no refund. And the reason why is because before I go into every reading, whether private or public or a group reading, I always meditate and I do work. I meditate, I work with spirit, I clear myself, I open up, I'm working with spirit even more, and images, messages and pictures will start coming through. And so when a person doesn't show up for a reading, it's very disappointing. It's disappointing for me because I'm excited for my client because I'm starting to receive the information that's coming through. And it's disappointing for spirit because they don't get to have the reading. They don't get to give these messages to the client and the loved ones that are coming through that are deceased. They don't get to have that connection. So because there's work put into it, that is why there's no refund when someone misses a reading. So if you're going to schedule a reading and if you're paying money for it with your qualified medium, get it on your calendar. Do not forget, you do not want to miss that opportunity. I don't think enough people see it as an opportunity. Having a reading with a qualified medium is a blessing. It really truly is. And I think a lot of people don't view it that way. It is a divine experience. It is to be cherished. That is why I offer Zoom recordings when I do it over Zoom so that people can have it and save them. I have readings from 12 years ago that I have saved on CDs. I cherish these things. And so if you're going to put forth the money to have a reading with a qualified medium, make sure you don't miss your time because you're going to kick yourself. So Anyway, I kind of threw a lot at you. I wanted to touch on all those things. Thank you so much for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. It means a lot. Make sure you subscribe, tell your friends. I'm getting such positive feedback from people about this podcast, and it really means so much. I read for a woman last week, and she was telling me how um, she was listening to the podcast and she learned about Janet, the Reiki master that I go to, who was on the podcast last year. And this woman's going to go see Janet for a Reiki session, which made me so happy. I know people have found the podcast and they go and see Holly for massage. So it's been a really great way for some of us to connect. And I really thank you all so much. And I want to also tell you that these connections are happening because there was an idea that I could not get out of my head and I could not get it out of my heart. And that is why this podcast was born. I wanted to focus on the positive side of the supernatural and paranormal. And it's been such a blessing in my life. Um, it is why I don't charge for this. I don't run ads. I don't charge money because I want everyone to have access to information about mediumship. I think it's very important to normalize mediumship. That is what I'm trying to do. Um, it's very rewarding, and I'm loving that so many people are getting connected with one another. And I have to say, if you have an idea and if you can't get it out of your mind and you can't get it out of your heart, you just have to take the leap and do it. And this podcast is proof of that. So I hope that anyone listening who has that happening for them right now, make a plan. You need to have a plan. And I say go for it because you never know where it will take you. You never know who it will take you to, new friends that you'll meet. I've made a lot of new friends through this, and it's been really, really fun. And it's a funny little story. My best friend and I, when we were younger, so this was the mid 90s, she and I would put a blank cassette tape in our radio and we would record conversations of just her and I talking for hours. And I still have them. And it's kind of funny because we talk about school, we talk about boys, we talk about music, we talk about hockey. She and I would play hockey with her family, and um, we just talk about so many random things. We both had gerbils as pets. We talk about gerbils and all these goofy things, and it was really fun. And now there's a podcast. So it's kind of funny just how you never know what little things you do in your life as a kid, how it can kind of come full circle later. So if you have that in your heart and in your mind, I say go for it. Thanks so much for listening, guys. I really appreciate it. Namaste, everyone.